人间有爱。周大观文教基金会成立于1997年，是由周大观的父亲周敬华先生、母亲郭银兰女士以及友人赵翠慧女士等国内外爱心人士，为完成抗癌小诗人周大观热爱生命、快乐生活的遗志，提倡喊自己好，热爱自己的生命；喊别人好，尊重别人的生命；喊地球好，维护地球的生命。以最真诚、最节俭的方式，自立自强的行动，经由访视、征选、营队、讲座、活动、交流、咨询、研讨等多元化、全方位的服务，进行全球热爱生命、快乐生活系列公益活动，并特别着重人生快乐生活的宣扬，生命无限可能的鼓励，包括身心障碍者、儿童、罕见疾病者以及国内外为生命搏斗者。
不要放弃。
参与本会全球热爱生命、快乐生活系列公益活动义工服务人次已超过199367人次。以小而美、小而精的积极企业化、人性化经营模式，结合国内外资源，在爱心与智慧相激荡中无中生有，有效地达成推动全球热爱生命、快乐生活系列公益活动的任务和目标。
大家好，我是周大观，我用我生命组成的40首诗篇，将在4月4日儿童节出版义卖所得，成立周大观关怀生命基金会，一同走过生命喜悦桥，一同走过希望光明的桥，一同走过关怀与大爱的桥。
周大观曾经有一篇诗作，名字叫做《种树》。自从那年春天的右脚长了肿瘤，我们就天天去种树，在医院种下健康的树，在教堂种下爱心的树，在学校种下希望的树。某一天，我们把自己也种成一株树，一代一代种下去，长成一座健康的森林，长成一座爱的森林，长成一座希望的森林。
now a story that is sure to move you. A grandfather meets his first grandchild and is moved to write a series of letters. Those letters can now be found in a book called Letters to Sam. It's filled with lessons on life that we can all relate to.
Just one more.
You're watching a love affair
God.
between a grandfather and a grandson. The type of relationship you see every day. This one, though, has a twist. Grandpa is Daniel Gottlieb, psychologist, host on National Public Radio, and a quadriplegic.
My accident took place 26 years ago. I was driving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike to Harrisburg to buy a surprise 10th anniversary gift for my wife. An 18-wheel truck lost one of its wheels, the whole wheel, and it bounced across the turnpike and hit my car, crushed it, and broke my neck.
Gottlieb has been paralyzed from the shoulders down ever since. He says he doesn't remember much about the accident.
I don't recall anything except seeing a black thing in the sky moments before it hit my car. I often say to people, though, that's not my story. That's so many people's stories. So many of us are hit by a black thing. You discover a lump, or a spouse says, I can't do this anymore, or something happens to a child, or most of us are hit by a black thing at some point in their lives.
And that's how Gottlieb works. Takes his unusual journey and applies it to the rest of our lives.
I've learned lessons over these last 25 years about how to cope with it, how to enjoy one's life living inside the body that I have.
Nothing has given Gottlieb more joy than the birth 6 years ago of his first grandchild, Sam.
Anybody who's had a child experiences a perfect love when they see that child for the first time. Their hearts are wide open. And that's what I feel when I see Sam. Not that he's a perfect child, but that the love is perfect.
And an inspiration to write a series of letters, a book, grandfather to grandson, about love, loss, and the gifts of life. The focus of the book changed right after Sam turned 1. Doctors diagnosed him as autistic.
Once I discovered that Sam had autism, it did feel more urgent to write this book because I had so much more I wanted to tell him. I wanted to tell him all about what it means to be different, how to cope with alienation, how to deal with other people who look at you differently or worse, don't look at you at all. And most important, he doesn't read subtleties in other people's emotions. He just can't do it, and that's why they have difficulty socially.
How many ladybugs? Who wants to tell me how many ladybugs?
Gottlieb knows there will be things that are hard for Sam. In some ways, the same things that are difficult for everyone. That understanding led to the letter about loss.
Sam, almost everything we become attached to will eventually lose. Our possessions, our loved ones, and even our youth and our health. Yes, each loss is a blow, but it's also an opportunity. Sam, there's an old Sufi saying that says, when the heart weeps for what it's lost, the soul rejoices for what it's found.
As they each sign the book, it's clear Dan Gottlieb has found a partner in his grandson, a partner for teaching the world what it means to be different.
Thank you.
And Dan Gottlieb is my guest this morning, live from Philadelphia. Dan, good morning. Great to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you.
I sent you a note saying you need a disclaimer on the book that it has to be read with a box of Kleenex.
You're right.
Nearby. But not because it's a sad story. It's not sad at all. Rather, you have this way of writing it, and you turn the page, and boom, you hit us that somehow through your journey, you're able to understand the feelings that all of us have.
My story on my business card, I don't have psychologist or family therapist on it. My only label is human. That's what the book is about. That's what my life, my career is about. It just touches on what it means to be human.
Well, since the book is called Letters to Sam, I'd like to have you read some of the letters to us, and I've tried to pick out a few or parts of them, which wasn't easy, by the way. But since so much of the book is about being different, if you could read the passage where you talk to Sam about what it means to be different and feel different.
Sure. Sam, your differentness and my differentness are just facts. Sometimes what we do with our minds turns those facts into pain, and sometimes we can just treat them as facts, acknowledging them but not feeling them. But the more you feel your differentness, the more lonely you'll feel.
And the reason that touched me, and I think so many people, and you touch on this in the book, being different isn't being in a wheelchair or having autistic. So many people feel different and feel apart, but it's something that we do to ourselves.
It's not so many people, Darren. It's all of us. You know, there's a great writer who once said, the divine child, that spiritual child inside of all of us, is always an orphan. It's a quality of being human that we experience alienation. We are orphans, and the challenge is what we do with our orphanhood. And most of us deny it and pretend that if we're good enough, if we're strong enough, smart enough, rich enough, powerful enough, then we won't be orphans anymore. But if we can stop fighting that experience, we can simply be who we are and stop fighting. We can discover that the world has created for us a wonderful orphanage, and we connect with people at that level.
You also talk about something that is tough for everybody, and that is change. Now, friends of mine that have autistic children explain to me that change can rock an autistic child's world. But everybody has trouble with change, and you talk about it while you're talking to Sam about when he decides to give up his binky or his pacifier.
You want me to read that quote?
Yeah, read that passage. The beginning part where you're talking about what change is really at its core.
Sam, change is difficult for all of us. The older we get, the more change we face. Sam, all change involves loss, and whenever we lose something, we ache to have it back. Everything I've lost in my life, big things, little things, I've wanted back.
And how does change affect Sam?
Sam reacts pretty strongly. Sam reacts quantitatively different to change than the rest of us. His mom, my daughter, has to print out a picture card for him every morning from her computer whenever his day is going to be different, so that he knows exactly what to expect during the day.
Timmy, where's Pop?
Or else he'll react pretty strongly.
No one has had bigger changes in their life than you have, and you're so honest about discussing your accident and what it's meant to your life. You call this book, the end title of it, as the gifts of life. I've heard you describe the experience of having this accident and spending the rest of your life in a wheelchair as a gift. Do you really think that's true?
You know, yes, I do. You know, when I heard people saying that shortly after my accident, I didn't believe them. I didn't like them saying it. In hindsight, my experience is what happened is when my neck broke, air got in, and my soul began to breathe. As a result of my accident, I became the man I always was inside. I never would have become the man I am today if it weren't for the accident. And that involves the gifts of loss. When I lost what I did, I stopped fighting. I stopped fighting against my orphanhood because I knew I was going to lose that battle. I stopped fighting against everything I lost and started becoming the man I am.
How long did it take you to get to that point?
A lifetime, maybe more. I went through a pretty severe clinical depression about 4 or 5 years after my accident. I would imagine it took about 10 years, and I really am, Darren, still evolving and growing. My body is broken, my mind is neurotic, and truly my soul is at peace, Darren.
Well,
who could ask for more?
we get to see pieces of all that, the mind and the soul and explanations of your body in the book. It's called Letters to Sam, and as I said, if you got any smarts, you'll have some Kleenex nearby. Dan Gottlieb, thank you. And I understand a part of the proceeds going to an autism foundation.
All of the proceeds to Cure Autism Now and other children's charities.
Excellent. Thank you so much for making time for us, and thank you for the thoughts in the book.
Darren, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
When I was a boy, I was not good at school. I was very insecure, and I never felt as good as the others. And I told myself that if only I did better, if only I achieved more, if only, one day my life would finally begin when I broke my neck, and I knew I could never become that man that I wished I would be. So, now what? I had no hope. No hope that I would ever be the man I thought I would be. No hope that I would ever walk. No hope that I would ever dance. Now what? I thought of suicide. I felt rage I felt envy for anybody who could help. I felt great shame and despair, and I went into a deep depression, and then began to heal. And why? Because that's what our spirits do. We cut our arm and we feel pain and it bleeds, and you keep it clean. Over time, it heals. And one more thing, it leaves scar tissue. And in that scar tissue is the learning we need about life. There are things we do that interfere with the healing. When we want revenge, or we want justice, or when we want the suffering to go away tomorrow, all of that interferes.
这个是常有的事。All the people want to the fear or the anger go overnight. 我们希望我们的一夜之间就不见了。It's impossible, right?
We all want the fear to go away overnight, and the anger to go away overnight. I want hair. I want to happen.
Daniel, it's a very good answer, huh? Could you please give Daniel a hand, please? 我真的很想告诉大家一件事，就是说，今天我来到这一个座谈会里面，我觉得笑容最灿烂的应该是 Daniel. The most beautiful smile today, the word comes to Daniel. And how come you have this kind of love that reserving you all these years, even though you can't walk? Is it because you help a lot of people? Where does your love comes from? 你的爱是从哪里来的？
It's in there. Look at an infant. They're nothing but love and wet pants. That's in there. That's who we are.
Yes. So could you tell us how love has changed you?
Made me happy, grateful. It's made me more loving. Once you love more, you love more.
So I just asked you in this corner about this question is, people are divided, or people are leading by the press. So we always don't know what is really the truth inside us. You just tell me 4 words. Can you tell the fans here again?
Yeah, I wrote an article years ago in which I said I believe there were 4 words that could heal the world. And those 4 words are, tell me your story. Look someone in the eye. Because I believe if you look someone in the eye, you can see their soul. And then you can find your own. Ask that question. And then listen for a long time. Just listen. And imagine that story is your story. That'll change the world.
Is it the way you always listen to your patients and how you always listen to your listeners? 因为我们知道 Daniel 其实他是一个主持人。How you listen to your